Kyler Murray's not a top 10 quarterback, and that's okay. Let's discuss.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily Arizona Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Let's see here. Follow me on Twitter at Clancy's Corner. Please go to the YouTube channel. Search Locked On Arizona Cardinals. Hit that subscribe button, man. Turn notifications on. Leave a review. Your team every day. Locked On. Woo! So, got a bunch of stuff to discuss today. I'm excited for this. Did another Cardinal squad show last night. Check that out. There's a playlist for a Cardinal squad show on the Locked On Cardinals YouTube channel. Ben Garcia, Jamil Douglas, and myself having fun doing that. Handful of things to talk about today. First, the Locked On Podcast Network put out their top 100 NFL players as polled by the hosts. I'll kind of break that down. There were 3 Cardinals on the list. Were they the right 3 Cardinals? Were there one that was omitted? We'll discuss it. What's Kyler Murray's path to being a top 10 quarterback after the 2025 season? Like when all of these lists come out during the list season in July, what does Kyler Murray need to do to make the top 10 next season? And first, though, Kyler Murray's not a top 10 quarterback. And that's okay. I'll explain. 15 years in sports media, 10th year hosting this show, 9th season. Man, I'm jacked. I'm excited. Today's episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Love me some FanDuel. Been a sponsor of ours for a while. So, Kyler Murray's not a top 10 quarterback, and that's okay. I did some math. I did a little math, and it was fun, and it was easy, and it was simple. There are only 2 active starting quarterbacks in the NFL under the age of 37 who have won a Super Bowl. Over the age of 37, Matthew Stafford, Aaron Rodgers. Under the age of 37, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts. That's it. 6.7% of starting quarterbacks not named Matthew Stafford and Aaron Rodgers have won a Super Bowl. How's that for you, Darren Lewis? Not only diction, math. So why do I bring that up? It seems very arbitrary. It seems like one of those stats where like you can find a stat for anything to back up any point. That's why I don't lean on stats to prove points. I lean on my eyes and irrational thought and theory and future pacing and things like that. With this, it's kind of a double-edged sword where it's like, okay, so that puts things into perspective. No Lamar, no Josh Allen, no Joe Burrow. Only one of those 3 have made a Super Bowl. It's like, do you need a quarterback to be a superhero to win a ring? And that's why the answer is kind of no. Tom Brady ruined it for everybody. And now Patrick Mahomes is ruining it for everybody. There's been a lot more Joe Burrows and Josh Allens over the history of time that haven't won than Tom Brady's and Patrick Mahomes. So while Kyler Murray isn't at that level of any of those quarterbacks that I just mentioned, I'm not saying he is, and you can see the title of this segment is he's not a top 10 quarterback. I don't think the Cardinals need him to be. I don't think they need him to be. What makes a Super Bowl caliber quarterback is being an elite game manager who gets it done on the play or two that the team absolutely has to have it. Absolutely has to have it. And Kyler Murray hasn't done that, and I think that's pretty obvious. What he's done, though, is had many come-from-behind wins. He's had some of the best plays that we've seen in bunches in the NFL since he was drafted. Like, the dude has a ceiling that few quarterbacks have. But the fact that he's not a top 10 quarterback, I'm not arguing that he is because he's not. But if he's the 13th or 14th best quarterback in the league, you take it. That's why I'm so adamant about them just moving off from, well, he sucks, get rid of him. What's your contingency plan? Oh, draft one. Oh, okay. So with this locomotive that's ready to rip, you want to draft, oh yeah, trade up and draft Arch Manning. Do you guys hear yourselves? Be adults here. This is not a world where you give the keys to this Maserati to a rookie. And that's what the contingency. Oh, get rid of Kyler Murray. He sucks. No, he doesn't. Oh, he's not as good as Joe Burrow. Nobody said he was. Nobody said he was. Where I kind of give the side eye to people, like the side eye of the dog, that GIF or GIF, whatever the hell it is, that side eye. It's like where I give that side eye is like, name a quarterback who is not in the top 10 that you would 100% take over Kyler Murray without even thinking about it. Trevor Lawrence? No. Are you 100% taking Justin Herbert over Kyler Murray? 100%? Like, there's so many young quarterbacks who haven't proven jack, who are already given their flowers. Like, Jaden Daniels being top 5, that's fine. We'll see. He had an incredible year last year. He looked wise beyond his years because he played 9 years in college. 6. These guys aren't 21 years old anymore. Michael Penix isn't 21 years old anymore. They played 38 years. Bo Nix played 1,000,000 years in college. He's older than many, if not all, of the rest of the rookie class that they were drafted in. It comes with experience, even though it's not an NFL level. The dudes are adults coming into the league. They're not 21 or 22. But, the reason why Kyler Murray doesn't need to be top 10 for the Cardinals to win is there's 21 other dudes that have to be a part of this also. Wins aren't a quarterback stat. That's something Mina Kimes, friend of the show, she says a lot. It's not a quarterback stat. Maybe in her lower third of her Twitter bio, I can't remember. But all the Cardinals need from Kyler Murray is the floor to be higher than it's ever been. So, let's put it this way. And it's funny. I will take, I'll take the heat for, not heat because it's not a big deal, but people used to comp Baker Mayfield to Kyler Murray. And I'm like, stop. And then Baker grew up and his floor is higher than Kyler Murray's. Game in and game out is higher than Kyler Murray's. But the ceiling is not even the same atmosphere as Kyler's. So with that, what you see from Baker, since going to Tampa Bay especially, is you can win a whole bunch of games with a quarterback who has a higher floor than a dude who has a higher ceiling. For sure. Would I swap Baker for Kyler for this team? No. That ceiling is special that we've seen from Kyler Murray. But with all that said, he doesn't need to be a top 10 quarterback for the Cardinals to make a deep playoff push. All he needs to do is do his job in crunch time when they absolutely got to have it. And not have any real unforced errors that'll jettison a team from winning a specific game or a cluster of games. That's it. And easier said than done, obviously. But Kyler Murray not being a top 10 quarterback is not what's holding this team back from winning and going deep in a playoff push. The entirety of the talent of the roster was over the last 2 seasons. And this segment could be rendered obsolete if the Cardinals somehow win 6 games next year and Kyler Murray plays all 17. If that happens, Kyler Murray's gone. I just find it very, very difficult to stomach that that's something that would be experienced. If I had to pick one of the two to be true at the end of the 2025 season, putting the Clansford-Thomas hat on, if Jonathan Gannon won Coach of the Year, Kyler Murray had MVP consideration, or if both of them were gone, I would take the former 1,000 times out of 100. So that's why it's hard for me to stomach really discussing the other side with any sort of merit. We'll find out after the season, but the fact that Kyler's not a top 10 quarterback doesn't matter. 2 out of 30 not named Matthew Stafford and Aaron Rodgers won a Super Bowl. 6.5%. 6.7%. So to say that Josh Allen's gotten close and Kyler Murray hasn't, what does close mean? Win a playoff game? Cool. Of course, that's something that that's a hurdle that absolutely needs to be jumped over if they ever want to, make a push with Kyler. But you can make the argument, I don't know why you would, but I do this as devil's advocate. Both don't have a Super Bowl appearance. Why does it matter what it looks like? Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. What's Kyler Murray's path to a top 10? Is it stats-based? No. Discuss it next. This episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. Summer sports are in full swing, and whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more damn exciting. You're already following the action. Why not make it a little more thrilling? Throw a little juice in there. With FanDuel, you can get it on the game with your friends while other friends are getting sunburned at the beach. I've been using FanDuel to track my favorite matchups, and the app keeps refreshing with new daily promotions and fun ways to bet. It's awesome. If you're new to FanDuel, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com to get started. Please go to the YouTube channel, search Locked On Arizona Cardinals, hit that subscribe button, turn notifications on. I've been saying this for so many damn years now. It's all the same. What is Kyler Murray's path to being a top 10 quarterback at the end of the 2025 season when this season comes out for 2026, a calendar year from now? There's a couple different ways to look at it. Is it a stat stuffing situation? And not stats like when quarterbacks are called stat stuffers, for some reason that's like a poor connotation. It gives a poor connotation off where it's like, oh, it's like garbage time points in the NBA. Russell Westbrook used to get a lot of crap for having garbage time triple doubles. It's like, I don't know why there's such a bad connotation. Kyler Murray can starting over. Kyler Murray can stuff the bleep out of the stat sheet. Okay, we've seen it. 400 all-purpose yards, 4 touchdowns, all that. The path to Kyler Murray being a top 10 quarterback on these lists next season is wins. That's it. It's wins. One thing that I don't really understand, I can't really compute it. I don't know if it's play calling. I don't know if it's him checking out whatever it is, checking out of pass play calls. Is like, I don't understand the 14 for 22 games. I just don't get it. For 127 yards, 140 yards, a touchdown and a pick. Like, 2 carries for 6 yards. Like, I don't understand those games, but they win some of those games. So with him specifically, and I'm not trying to make him sound special, not in this instance, but it's like year 7 wins and losses. That's it. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. If he has statistically his second or third worst year, but the Cardinals go 12-5, cool. Doesn't matter. Top 10 quarterback. Doesn't matter. Top 10 quarterback. I find it very hard to believe, though, that there will be a direct correlative between a bunch of wins and Kyler Murray's numbers not being stellar. I'd rather he complete 5% less passes but throw 20% more. But I don't really care about stats with him. I don't. Like, it's fun when he's 24 for 27 for 250, 3 touchdowns, and then another 60 on the ground and a score. Like, of course it's fun. But they had a lot of games last year, like the Charger game, where aside from that 50-plus yard scamper where he hit the left edge and beat out a backer to score on a broken play, like, it was an ugly game. There weren't a lot of touchdowns scored. The Chargers didn't score 1. What, they kicked 6 field goals, I think? Like, yes, he is the head of the snake on offense. Yes, everything goes through him. Yes, he sets a tone, all that stuff. It's obvious he's an NFL quarterback. But I don't need all-world numbers for him to be a top 10 quarterback. I don't know if that's every quarterback. I don't know if, like comparing, okay? Joe Burrow's numbers last year were a banana sandwich, okay? Their defense was null. So him throwing the ball out is because he had to keep the team in games. So does that mean that he had a better year than, I don't know, Jaden did? Like, it's a team that actually has defense. It's like numbers aren't everything. Josh Allen is that offense. Josh Allen scores all the touchdowns. James Cook had a great year last year. I think he had almost 20 touchdowns. But, like, he's the offense. He's the first option. He's the second option. He's always minus 125 to score a touchdown. It's like, does that mean that that's the best way to run an offense? It'll get you there until you find a defense that figures it out. It doesn't matter if it's in the regular season or in the playoffs. If that's the only avenue you have to have a relevant offense, him passing the ball and running the ball, it's like, is that the most healthy offense to win a Super Bowl. The fact that Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry didn't get to the Super Bowl last year blows my mind. How much better do you need a roster to be? What's missing? I mean, I know Mark Andrews dropped a wide open pass, but Mark Andrews has been one of the reasons why they've been relevant. So, of all the dudes to get a pass, no pun intended, he gets a pass. I struggle with this, and I have no problem discussing my struggles with you. I know that he's not elite every snap. Some quarterbacks are, in some, varying forms or fashion. I just don't know. I mean, I do think I know. And this is solely on his shoulders as well as a little Drew Petzing. Not all of it, 25, 30% though, because they're working in unison here. Many will start talking about this later. You come here because I bring things up months and months before other people talk about it. It's not on purpose. It's like, ooh, what can I predict? It's just stupid. No, but it's like there is going to be conversations about the offense being two entities on one side of the ball, where the run game and the pass game don't work in synchronicity. Okay, I think it's been easy to kind of mask because the run game has been so effective, and because the Cardinals didn't have any real dudes outside of Trey McBride a couple years ago, and Kyler Murray was tore his ACL. And it was a completely new offense. You give Drew Petzing the credit for having a big boy adult offense outside of the slop that Cliff Kingsbury tried to run when he was here. And I know that he runs it in Washington. That's great. He's an offensive coordinator, not a head coach. Completely different. I don't have time to argue this with you. This year, the microscope will be Kyler Murray bridging the two. And this doesn't necessarily mean, you've got to run RPOs with a couple wide receiver options just in case, regardless of what play he wants to call, whether it's stuffing into James Conner's chest or faking that rolling out and throwing off one leg to Marv screaming down the sideline. Like, there needs to be synchronicity. They need to play off each other and not just, they've run the ball effectively 2 downs in a row. Perfect time for play action. It's got to be more involved than that. Drew Petzing had a couple play calls last year. It was like, holy mother. Where the hell was that when the Cardinals were in playoff contention? That's the baseline for this year. Like, I don't care if Kyler Murray has a career high in interceptions this year. This offense needs to be more, obviously we wish against that, but it's like, if that's the byproduct of them taking more chances and unlocking the entirety of the offense in the run game and in the pass game specifically, because that's where Kyler threw interceptions, like, risk and reward is a real thing. Aaron Rodgers can have the 30 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Cool, bro. What if he took more chances? Maybe he'd have 40 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. And what a better year to really massage that part of the offense, the risk-taking offense, when you've got the best defense that Kyler Murray's had at any level. And the best top-to-bottom depth defense this Cardinals have potentially had in 20 years. We obviously have to see it. We have to see what the second-year guys are rookies. I understand all that. But if there's a time to take chances, this is the best defense the Cardinals have had since Kyler Murray's been drafted, and it's not close. Path to Kyler Murray being a top 10 quarterback on these lists next season, win, and win a lot. Locked On Podcast Network put out their top 100 players. Let's break it down. Next. I mean, if Kyler Murray's a top 10 quarterback, that means they won a whole bunch of games this year. Let's hope. Shall we? Locked On Podcast Network, the Locked On NFL host, voted top 100. The Cardinals had 3. Okay. And listen, top 100 list or top 100 list. But there's a couple that, like, if you would guess, if there were 3, if you would guess, which 3 would be on there for the Cardinals? Just think to yourself. I'll give you 10 seconds. 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 10 se Wrong. Whatever you think is wrong. You got 2 right. Okay. Trey McBride's on there. Budda Baker's on there. Trey McBride 64. Budda Baker comes in at round 100, which is ridiculous. But, the Cardinals are an afterthought, and they've been an afterthought pretty much since their inception. So this is something that, it's what it is until they prove it. There's no way that Budda Baker is the 100th best player in the NFL. Let's take 3 players from each team. That gets you to 96. There's no way that Budda Baker isn't in the top 70. Fringe top 60. I know there's a lot of players in the NFL, okay? I know there's a lot of players. But 70, top 70, I'd give him, easy top 70. Trey McBride comes in at 64. That's fine. After this year, he'll be top 30 if he continues to grow, okay? If he continues to grow. Top 30, top 35. The one that surprised me, and something, lists are wonky at times. Calais Campbell's 46. Regardless of what I've said, which is true, that the biggest offseason signing for the Cardinals was Calais Campbell from a big picture stance, a big picture viewpoint, because it shows that the tides are turning in Arizona. Calais Campbell was unceremoniously pretty much pushed out because they refused to pay him the money that he wanted. They were going to give him his 3-year for 30, and then he got 50 plus from Jacksonville, and then was just all Pro Bowl everywhere he went, whether it be there, Baltimore, Miami, Atlanta, whatever. He's just been Calais Campbell. So the fact that he came back is the most impactful for the big picture, for the storylines, because it shows that things are different here, especially for, people who've been around, people who've been fans for 30 years, people who've been in media like me for 15. It's like when Calais Campbell comes home, it's like, okay, that means things are different. There's no way that he would have come back if the last regime was still here. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. So could you make a case for James Conner being on here? Probably. But that's about it. I don't think you can make a case for really anybody else. You can't make a case for Kyler Murray after last year. Quarterback, it's so difficult. It's so difficult to make this list. Unless you're like a second-year guy or third-year guy where CJ Stroud made it and Jaden Daniels. It's like, all lists are kind of Looney Tunes. They're all Looney Tunes. But, I trust all the smart dudes and women. Sorry, Patricia, like all the men and women who host these shows, like, I trust them. They're ball knowers for sure. They're football knowers for sure. The Calais Campbell one was interesting. Kudos to Calais. Like there's that Lil Wayne clip where they were talking about top 5 ever. Somebody had top 5 ever, and Gucci made top 5 rapper list, and Eminem didn't. It's like, shout out to my man Gucci. It's like, all right, well, Calais, attaboy, nice, good, 38 years young. After this season, let's do this for the next couple of minutes. We'll work together. After this season, if things continue and they go from what 2023 to 2024 was, 2024 to 2025, what 25 to 2026 is like, if that 0-1 jump from 24 to 25 happens again with a talent level from 25 to 26, how do you think could be on here? Trey McBride will be there. Does Garrett Williams make the list? Paris Johnson Jr. make the list? Does Josh Sweat make the list? Does Walter Nolan make the list? Does Marv make the list? The Cardinals have so many maybes. Like, let's go down, because this is fun. This is fun, okay? Let's go down the list of players who could make the top 100 next year if the Cardinals take the same compounded jump from 2025 to 2026 than they did from 23 to 24 and 24 to 25. Okay. It's like a Richter scale kind of thing where the higher up it goes, it's not just, it's just 10 times more from 6 to 7. It's like 100 times more, whatever it is. Like if they take that jump and they win 12 games, which players, like the Eagles, I think had 7 on this list. Who could be on there? Budda Baker, James Conner, Paris Johnson, Josh Sweat, Walter Nolan, Garrett Williams, Marvin Harrison Jr., Trey McBride. That's 8, just off the top of my head. Could be on there. Not all of them won't be, regardless of what they do. But, like, Will Johnson, 9. Like, I'm not saying that rookie. It's very difficult for rookies to make it on there on the defensive side of the ball, for sure, unless, Walter Nolan comes in and has 10 sacks in the first season or something like that. But going through and seeing, okay, well, James Conner didn't make it. Kyler Murray, yeah, that's fine. I would have put James Conner instead of Calais Campbell, not at 46, but in the 80s. It's just a reminder that the future is bright for this team. I don't know what's going to happen with Kyler Murray. I'll throw it. I don't know what's going to happen with Jonathan Gannon, even though that's a fool's errand, but I'll do it for you. This roster, I talked to this. You know what? Tomorrow I will do the first segment on this specifically. Okay. We talked about this on the squad show yesterday. It was kind of impromptu. I do bullet points for these shows. I have my talking points and I just kind of talk. It's just the radio in me. But I surprised Ben and Jamil with this question. I didn't know I was going to ask it. It just kind of came up because they were talking about, we were talking about our Monty Osborne and Jonathan Gannon on the hot seat. That stupid conversation, in my opinion, after 2025. It's like, okay, here you go. Pick one at the end of the season. If you could only pick one and the other two are removed, pick one. Monty Osborne, Jonathan Gannon, Kyler Murray. Pick one. So I thought about it. And with this roster, take Kyler Murray out, take Jonathan Gannon out. With this roster, there'd be 20 dudes lined up wanting to coach this roster. There'd be 20 dudes lined up wanting a quarterback for this roster. This isn't like to be divisive, where it's like, oh, you don't need him. You don't need him. One's more important than the other. But for the sake of the conversation, I'm taking Monty Osborne. If you had to 100% pick Jonathan Gannon, Kyler Murray, Monty Osborne, one, I'm taking Monty. I'll explain why tomorrow. But it's a fascinating conversation. And again, this isn't a conversation that's going to be had in real life, but it puts things into perspective of how this roster is going over the last couple of years and how well Monty Osborne has done. Sure, future pacing still with the first and second year guys. It's done a pretty damn good job for guys that have already shown what they can do on a football field. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. Remember, without you, there is no me. I'll talk to you tomorrow.